Hi, this is Miami Unfiltered with the Regalados, and I'm Raquel Regalado.
I am Tomas Regalado.
And today we're talking about all things disability and autism. As many of you know, October is Disability Employment Month. And if you know my story, you know that the reason that I ran is because my daughter Isabella was diagnosed with autism. And about a year and a half later, my son Sebastian was also diagnosed. Today, I am the proud parent of 2 adults in the autism spectrum and an advocate for neurodiversity. But today we're going to be talking a little bit about employment and vocational training. But I also want you to hear from my dad on an abuelo's perspective on autism. But first, we've been talking a lot about property taxes and property values. And I wanted to give everybody some information, Dad, on exemptions for disabilities. I know that you've made this a priority now as the property appraiser. Can you tell us a little bit about what everyone watching should know about those exemptions?
Well, Raquel, when I started going around Miami-Dade County with the outreach, doing what the office never did, which is bring every single week a group of specialists to different areas of the county. And since January, we have done 27 outreach, I think 15 in municipalities and the rest in unincorporated Miami-Dade County. I found out, and I was shocked to see that many people did not know that they qualify for exemptions that are on the laws, that are on the books, and that these exemptions will translate into them paying less taxes.
And being able to stay in their homes. So in our last episode, we were talking about how a lot of folks didn't even know they qualified for homestead exemption, which is the most known exemption. But beyond the homestead exemption, there are other exemptions. Specifically, there's one for disability. And one of the things we're going to talk about in other episodes as we focus on Tallahassee and the legislative session that begins now is the need to increase the disability exemption. But what is it, and how many new people have you registered, and what are those disabilities for folks that are listening that have someone that's disabled on title?
Well, it may came as a surprise to most of you that are viewing and listening to us that many people still in the 21st century do not know about homestead exemption. Since January, we have registered for homestead exemption 15,088 families.
That were paying way more.
That were paying unnecessary taxes. But the most important thing is about what you're talking about, the disability. For instance, we have registered 25 blind persons. And it pains me that these women and men were living in their homes that they were paying, and they did not know that they had an exemption. If we go to a civilian disability, we have 577 people that did not know that they were able to get an exemption as a disabled person. For instance, we get the quadriplegic. We have registered 10.
And this is just in the outreach.
This is in the outreach and the people visiting our office in downtown Miami, but mostly in the outreach. For instance, we have veterans disability, 316 veterans we have registered this year. And something that maybe is not about disability, but it's about not knowing you are right. We have registered 1,152 widows that they, as soon as they register, when they get their bill this November, they're going to have a $5,000 additional exemption, which I think it's very little, but is $5,000. That will translate into $90 less that they have on their bill when they get the bill from the tax collector. But it's important to understand that, for instance, there is something that it's your thing. Grandparents living quarter. We register one.
Yeah.
And we got to talk about this.
We got to talk about ADUs
in the future, but it is important. But the most important thing is that I see people that come with their relatives that are disabled, and they plead with us. And we have to say, you don't have to plead for help. Here's the law. You can use it. You can just sign and show the papers.
And we're going to do a special show just on the, everything that's going on in Tallahassee with the changes in property taxes. But one of the things that we've been saying for, I think now almost 2 decades, is that the exemptions that already exist need to be increased. They are set from 1980, 1990, most of them. They're very low. They have not been kept up to date. So when we talk about, eliminating property taxes, one of the things that we've all said is we should reset these exemptions so that they are in line with modern property values and what people are actually paying for their homes. And disability is one of the first ones that comes up.
But you remember that the voters of the state of Florida, we changed the Constitution to fix the minimum salary.
Yes.
And it was supposed to go up to 15 every year. Why we did this? Because we recognize that inflation has to impact the salaries of the people. Well, the same thing with the values and the exemption. I mean, we have $5,000 for a widow, but when your couple die, when your partner die, you get less Social Security money. So that's a problem. You have veterans with disability that only get $5,000 if they are disabled from 10% to 90%. If they are disabled, totally disabled, you don't pay taxes.
Well, just generally, when we talk about homestead and these exemptions, they were set usually around 1990, 1992 is when these things were done. Portability, definitely. And back then, you could buy a home for $120,000, $80,000. So $25,000 of an exemption was a big deal when you could buy a home for $70,000. Not a big deal when everything is $1 million, right? It just doesn't hit the same way.
Actually, there is a law, and our representatives and senators know about this. We have transmitted to them the feedback that I get when I talk to many people, because I do talk to many people in this outreach. There is a law about long-term senior.
Yes.
So long-term senior is something that we have a lot of them in Miami-Dade County. Why? Well, because these people work, they came here maybe as adults, but they work their life. And the law says that if you are 65 and older, if you have an income of $37,000 or less. I think this year is $37,710 because it's rated by the HUD table in Washington. And many people do. Trust me, I've seen hundreds of people that live below $37,000 with the Social Security combined or with their pension. And if you have lived in your home for 25 years, but the last part of the law that was created and is on the books and that has been for more than 2 decades is if your home is valued less than $250,000.
So those people wouldn't pay taxes. So let's explain this law.
Exactly. These people, because there are municipalities like the city of Miami, when I was there, that we accepted that. And I remember that in 2011, I did 1,751.
Right. And this is important because in Tallahassee, they're having all these meetings and they're talking about how it's revolutionary that they're going to allow seniors not to pay for taxes. But the law already says that, except they have not amended the amounts. So all these homes are worth more than $200,000, and that's why these seniors can't apply. If we change that in Tallahassee, all of these seniors could apply.
Raquel, I have seen couples with their crutches going to our office or the outreach, and they say, hey, we know that we can apply for something. I heard you on the radio. And then when they sit, they come back with a long face and said, oh, alcalde or mayor, Tomasito, we don't qualify because we bought our home for $87,000, but now they say that our home worth $300,000, and we haven't done anything to our home. So we got to change that law. It's so easy. I don't think that we even have to go to a referendum.
Well, we're actually going to do a special program on the simple things that our representatives in Tallahassee could do to alleviate all these tax burdens. You and I are actually pitching a series of changes to laws, and we'll be talking about that in another podcast. But I wanted to focus this one a little bit more on autism, Dad, specifically on Disability Employment Month. October is Disability Employment Month. I'm actually doing a series of events. We do it every year. When you were the mayor of the city of Miami, you actually had a disability employment program at the city, which is still alive and well.
Yes.
And we've been talking about this for a long time. I'm working on lots of things, different vocational training. And one of the things that I think is so important for people to understand is that there is an interest in this. We just have to eliminate the barriers. It's about eliminating those barriers, and that's what we're going to be educating folks about throughout the month of October. But I wanted you to talk a little bit about your perspective as a grandparent. Everyone has heard me talk about this ad nauseum, and I'll be talking more about it in October, sort of the path that I've walked to get both of my children to understand the concept of work and to prepare them for work, and the programming that I've helped create so that other people's children can also do this. But this has also been a struggle between you and I, right?
Right.
So,
and I want to thank you for mentioning that we created this program at City Hall, and that is still in place. Actually, I think it's about the only thing that has not been erased or revoked by the people that follow me. But it is
we
important.
Say that, by the way, Dad, we say that as City of Miami residents who want them to get their act together.
Yeah,
right.
we say that with sadness, but at least I'm happy. For instance, we had a group of 2 or 3 young men, autistic young adults that work in the mailroom of the administration building, and these young men will come in with the bag of lunch at 8 a.m., start doing the envelopes, and they would not stop
The best workers.
Until their supervisor will say, so-and-so, you got to go to lunch. Okay, and they'll be back exactly at the minute that they say they didn't took an extended lunch like every other government employee, and they kept doing until 5 o'clock. And we had a cleaning group at City Hall. That's in Pan American Drive. This is in the administration building.
And some of them are still there.
And some of them are still
We
there.
visit them.
And we, when I visited City Hall in early June, we saw them, and they were very happy to remember, because these people work and they're so happy to do what they do. And in the case of my two grandchildren, it is for me, it has been a learning experience because I now understand other families. And the other day, I was going out of the office. It was in the afternoon. I had to go to do a presentation, and then came back, and I saw this older person, this Hispanic old person, and he was talking to the person at the front desk, trying to get some information of how he can pay less taxes and include his daughter. And with kind of tears in his eyes, this gentleman said, "My wife died several years ago, and she left me with this gift." And he pointed to an adult, a woman adult, that was sitting there, not moving, just looking at the ceiling with her little bag and purse. And he said, "There's nothing she can do." So
it's hard. Caregiving is hard.
and he was able to get something
Right.
Out of their taxes.
It's hard. Let's talk about a little bit about our experience, because now I think things are very different. We have amazing support groups, and for those of you that are watching, UMNSU Card has support groups for grandparents, for grandmothers, for siblings. We know more about what's now called glass children, which are the siblings of autistic children or children with disabilities. We have support groups for moms, support groups for dads. But when you and I started down this journey over 20 years ago, autism was still a bad word.
Yeah.
It was a very negative
we don't
thing.
have support for grandparents.
There was no support. There was no support for anybody. There was no support for grandparents. And when we first started with ABA therapy and all these changes and the routine, it was hard, because obviously a grandparent, your role is to give your grandchildren everything that they want, right? But you really, stepped up and helped me create routines for Isabella and for Sebastian. Can you talk a little bit about the routine that you and Isabella have every weekend?
Yes, and when I was out of politics and doing radio and TV, I had to work daily, doing the radio in the morning, recording TV for the weekends. So during the day, I had no time to spend, especially with Isabella. However, they decided, and I guess I began that tradition, that Friday night they're supposed to go
Yes.
with me to a restaurant.
They decided is a good way to put it.
Yeah.
They decided that Friday night was your night.
Yeah, and so Isabella, Fridays at 4 p.m., start calling my phone, saying, "Are you ready? Are you ready?" And she would pick the restaurant. Then she will fight with Sebas about picking another restaurant. But they know that Friday is the night that I have to go to dinner with both of them. Now, on Saturday, Isabella it was my fault. I took her for the first time to do some errands.
Many places.
Many places. I will say we have to go many places. Those many places where I gotta get gas for my car. I gotta go and buy flowers to go to the cemetery. I gotta go to the dry cleaner. I gotta go and buy groceries, and she decided that was Saturday.
Well,
That
let's explain.
Saturday.
And I think it's important to explain to people because, we always talk about how autistic individuals, especially adults, really love routine. One day you picked her up and you said, we're going to many places. And then you went to these different places. And moving forward, that is all she allowed you to do every Saturday. And now it's been years. So every Saturday, this is what you do. You have a routine.
And she starts calling me very early in the morning, saying many places. And she knows exactly the routine. First, we go get gas. Then we buy flowers. Then we do this. Then we do. And by the way, she includes lunch.
Yes.
On Saturday. So I know that in my line of work, now I have to be aware that I have to cancel something that somebody asked me to do. If they invite me to something, I know that Saturday she expects to go many places, and she knows exactly the time frame that we use to do all these many places.
So let's talk about the car wash, because I think the car wash is perfect for October. We talk about Disability Employment Month. I have always required Isabella and Sebastian to do chores. You and I used to fight about you cutting Isabella's food because for a very long time you babied her a little bit on the food situation. So
because she couldn't use the knife, but eventually she decided that she had to use the knife because I said, you cut it yourself.
Right. And if you baby them, I always tell people this, like, if you do everything for them, they will expect you to do everything for them. But if you make them do it, eventually they'll figure it out. You remember when Isabella was little, she used to dress herself and sometimes she wore her clothes like inside out and it was a mess. But eventually she figured it out. In terms of the car wash, I wanted you to tell everyone that story because I think it really speaks to the concept of work and training. So the first time you took Bella out many places, the first few times, one of the things that you did is you went to the car wash.
Yes.
But she just sat there.
Yes. The first time, this is one of those car washes that you see everywhere, that you get in the car. You go through the tunnel, and then you go out and you see the vacuum for the rugs, for the inside of the car, and you see the little towels to do the finishing touches on the car. Now, the first time, she just sat with her phone and her headphones.
And you did the work.
And I did the work. But then next week, I say, you got to help me. You got to work. And then now I don't have to tell her nothing. Every time that we park on the area for vacuum and finishing touches, she puts out the phone, she gets out of the car, she gets the vacuum cleaner, she vacuums her side and the back part because she always wants to be the co-pilot, and she vacuums the side, and then I said, okay, Abuelo is tired, so you gotta vacuum my side. And she vacuums my side. Then she comes back and says, all done. Now, I said, well, I mean, you put your feet on the dashboard, so you got to clean now. So she gets a little towel and do that.
So she details your car every weekend.
But she doesn't complain.
No.
She doesn't complain at all, and she knows that that is part of the protocol for going many places. Now, when she goes to buy groceries, she's supposed to have a list, and she always followed the list. But once we go into the grocery store, she ran away. In the past, I was concerned, where's Bella? But I realized that she ran away to get something special that she wanted. She always
Nail
buys
polish.
nail polish, cream for the bathroom. She gets several things that what I have never been able to figure out is why she every single week she buys trash bags.
She's obsessed with throwing out the trash.
Yes.
Yes. So she's in charge. Well, Sebas that was his chore, but I used to have to remind him several times. So she's the one that throws out the trash, and she's obsessed with having the trash bags so that she can throw out the trash and then put the trash bag in. I want to talk a little bit about Sebas before we run out of time, because also with Sebas, we go to dinner on Sundays. And one of the things that you've taught Sebas to do is also to be independent in his own way.
Right.
Let's talk about Food Ruckers.
Yeah. Food Rucker was something that he chose because he claims that the French fries there are good. Then she changed his mind. But the reason that he wanted to go to Food Ruckers, like every time we ask, is because he's able to get some money, go and order with the person at the counter, whatever that is. Then he gets his buzzer, and he knows exactly how to get his food when he pays. Especially when he buys an additional order of fries, he knows exactly. If he gets a $5 bill, he knows exactly the change that he needs to get. He comes back and gives me back the change. But now he has applied that theory to every restaurant. Now he doesn't let me or you or even his sister to order for him. He
Yes.
orders for him. He's able to say, waiter, no onions on the steak, double ration of French fries. So he has become very independent. So much so that now
He goes to restaurants by himself.
he goes to a restaurant by
He
himself.
takes public transportation, and he doesn't need us to take him to restaurants anymore.
Yeah, right.
So, and I want to thank you, Dad, because it really has been a group effort to get the kids to be independent and to understand, to explain to them the concept of work. And I couldn't have done it without you. You know, and one of the things we always talk about when we talk about our amazing neurodivergent children is that everyone has to be on the same page. And I think at the beginning, we had some struggles, but all in all, I think we've both been able to really make the kids as independent as possible and to celebrate their abilities and to give them those opportunities to shine. And like I always tell people, they want to be adults, they understand what adulthood is, and they want to be independent. So that's all we have for today. But as we said, we have a lot to talk about when it comes to property taxes and Tallahassee. So stay tuned for our next episodes as we deep dive a little bit more into all things taxes and give you some options for the horizon and what we should expect from our Tallahassee friends and what they could do to lighten the burden. Thanks, Dad.
Thank you.
See you next time.